Ideas about whatever it takes. And this is a concept that I learned from one of my great mentors. When I first started in business coaching, we would have group calls. And I noticed that when we would ask our mentor specific questions, he would give us some ideas, always thought provoking, solutions based. But then he would also say toward the end, or whatever it takes. And it took me a little while to get used to what he meant by that. Because I think, really when I was moving into business coaching, I was still kind of thinking from a literal standpoint and trying to make sure that I was able to have a framework that was very consistent and yet flexible in the sense that, sometimes when we're working with clients, it's not a straight line, right? There may be some peaks and valleys, or there may be some detours and things like that. Just again, depending on, what's going on in our client's life or what's going on in our client's business. So we have to be mindful of that. But I learned from my mentor that, it's not one size fits all, and my coaching is not a one size fits all, nor is it a cookie cutter approach because every business, everybody is unique. So, the best thing that I feel we can do when we're looking to accomplish our goals, and here we are in September, right? We want to be able to take a clear and, just remove any kind of, rose colored glasses, anything that was fogging up your view, and with laser lucid clarity, be able to determine where you are right now versus where you want to be, 30 days from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now. Put it on a timeline if you haven't already. I mean, if you already did this for your planning for 2024, then it's just about you going back and seeing, where are you? What have you been able to accomplish versus where do you want to go? There are always going to be some gaps, and those gaps need to be identified and filled because although we would like to believe this, it's not common that we're going to leap over all those gaps like one of the characters on Mario Kart, right? We're not Mario and we're not Princess P and all those other characters that I've watched my children play. Well, they still play once in a while, but that I watched my children play with Mario Kart, jumping over mushrooms and, pillars, all those things. So you need to make sure that you are taking time, preferably on a daily basis when you're setting up your next day, but at least schedule 3 15-minute blocks per week to be able to evaluate, where are you with your goals and where are those gaps so that you can find a way to fill those. And sometimes those gaps are just, learning new strategies. Like perhaps maybe you were spending your time on other social media platforms. Maybe that's where your clients were. But now perhaps you've had a shift in your business and you're spending more time on LinkedIn, but you haven't been here, so your profile needs help. So Identifying those gaps will allow you to then find the resources. When in a lot of cases, I have to say that if we are, if we have an open line of communication and we are trusting and believing in ourselves, that those resources will appear. It's not magic, but they just, if you believe in yourself and what you're doing, it's amazing how life has a way of getting those resources to you. And I had an experience just recently where I was looking to really get some sales experts to help and be part of my team so that it's not just me doing, all of the sales audits, or it's not just me, doing a lot of the prospecting. I mean, yes, I have a few other people on my team that help with prospecting, but I wasn't allowing anyone else to do the sales audits. And, that was, holding me back and putting a lot of other time, that I, needed to take a look and say, Is this efficient?" Because in my practice, probably about 80% of my time right now is still in fulfillment and in, doing sales audits, working with people. And I know that that needs to change as we continue to scale up. However, it's really about being able to assess and adapt to our changing business models. And and as we grow as a person, as people, as we grow as, businesses, things are going to evolve. And so we just need to really make sure that we instill a strong belief in ourselves and a strong belief in our team, because if we don't have that belief, then a lot of things, I mean, it can actually be like a domino effect. A lot of things are going to get in your way. So, if it's one thing I learned early on in sales, it was the importance of having that belief in myself. And early on, I mean, granted, I had my first outside sales position after college. I fought to get that. It was not easy because I was coming from a retail background. And a lot of times when companies like AT&T, for example, are looking to hire people, I mean, they just can't hire someone because they had a connection with them or they felt that they would be able to, do a good job in sales, or they liked where they went to school. I mean, there has to be, a section in whoever in the hiring managers or the hiring team where they can actually with with the criteria be able to check off the boxes, that why we're a good candidate. It's not like they can just glaze over that. And I was coming from a retail background. I did not have outside sales experience. So, I had to really get super laser lucid clear. I had to make sure that I honed my interview skills. Thank goodness I had an awesome college counselor who helped me prepare and for the real world, right? Because in college, when we're going through that, it's like role playing, and then when we get out in the real world talking to real hiring managers, we need to make sure that we are on top of our game and that we are presenting ourselves appropriately. And I feel that that's probably the best way to wrap this particular live stream up is by sharing with you an important lesson that I learned from my college guidance counselor. Now, keep in mind that I am an introvert. I had to learn to be more extroverted when I got hired on with AT&T because I learned, of course, I'm not going to be able to make any sales if I cannot speak to prospects, right? And I'm not going to be able to contribute and meet and exceed my goals if I'm not able to talk effectively and make presentations to potential clients, but also make sure that I'm able to communicate clearly to my team members, right? Doesn't work that way. So I had to work on that. That was, that was my personal development. AT&T gave me all the tools. However, I want to share with you a lesson I learned when I was still in college, my senior year. And I feel that every time I share this, I get a lot of feedback and engagement from people that say that they felt a lot like I did, or they acted a lot like I did. And, when I grew up, as an introvert too, it was still perceived that children should be seen but not heard. We should be quiet. I grew up as an only child. I was also, besides being an introvert, I mean, I was very shy. It's not one and the same, but I was very shy. And, it took a little while for me to warm up. But when I was role playing one session with my college guidance counselor for my interviews for a real job after college, I, of course, was hesitating because I felt like anytime I was talking about my accomplishments, I felt like I was bragging. So Gwen sat up in her chair one day and put her pen down when I was hesitating, him hawing around. And she said, Victoria, if you do not tell people what you've been able to do and specifically what you can do to solve their challenges, to be the solution for their problems. She said another candidate will solve those problems for them and they will demonstrate what they can do for them and they will get the job. You will not. And while those were words that I didn't want to hear, I needed to hear those because those words lit a fire inside of me. And it really clicked that I wasn't bragging. I was simply creating a summary and giving them a concise explanation of my accomplishments. What I did in the sorority, what I did in the business fraternity, and then asking them the right questions to figure out, as far as their ideal candidate, which qualifications do I match closely with? Would there be any gaps that I needed to fill? And like I said, while I didn't want to hear those words that day, I needed to because I learned and it clicked that, no one was going to excuse me from speaking about my accomplishments. Any serious, hiring manager was going to want for me to sit across from them and for me to explain to them why they should even continue talking with me. So that lesson, that particular afternoon, is one that I like to share with our clients. And I find that the majority of our clients come to us because they don't feel heard, because they don't feel seen. And they certainly aren't earning enough revenue and recognition for themselves and or their company. Depending on the data that you look at, there's probably about a billion users on LinkedIn. They're not all active, right? But there are a lot that are active. I think out of a billion, uh, I think one statistic I heard was maybe, you know, 50 or 60 million maybe are active. But out of the active population, there are less than 6% who create content. So if you happen to be a person that wants to create content and wants to get your sales process, how you enroll clients, get that all defined, then I can definitely help you with that. And I would just encourage you to send me a DM and we can have a brief discussion and see if it's something that we can jump on and start, getting you ramped up before the end of the year. Okay. Because if you are in that category of wanting to be seen and be heard and earn more revenue and recognition, then we should definitely talk. I wish I had a magic wand to be able to hand to you and say, what would you like to happen? But the truth of it is that it does require work. If you want to be heard and get seen by more people, it is going to require some work on your part and or your teams, but it's all possible. And that's the beauty of the world that we live in. You know, right now I'm speaking to you on LinkedIn, but this is streaming on multiple platforms. And we have the capacity and the tools to be able to be heard by people and get seen by people all over the world. So if you are looking to be heard and get seen by more people, then LinkedIn is definitely the place that you should spend your time and you should learn more of the strategies, but it's not just about posting. And I feel that that's a lot, some of the clients that have come to us, they thought, well, I'm putting content out there. And it could, in most cases, it was very high quality content. However, that's not everything that you need to do because there's a lot of strategy and tactics that need to take place in order to get the desired outcomes. And you also, super important to build relationships. It's not like anyone can just put content out there and, hope and pray that somebody's going to come with their credit card. We have to be focused on solving our prospects' problems, those solutions that our prospect wants, but maybe, couldn't connect the dots. So we can be a solution to our prospects' problems, our prospects' challenges. Uh, e- but it's not just, one thing, like I said about posting content, it's multiple things depending on your business. And this is not a one size fits all or a cookie cutter approach because everyone has a unique message. And we have to make sure that your message is getting out to your ideal clients. So it's not like you just broadcast everything out. You could take a very generalized approach to that. However, then you're going to get what you get. And in some cases, when people have just put content out there without a strategic approach, then what happens is they end up attracting people that may or may not be their ideal audience. And if you have a particular program, that program may not be the right solution for that audience if it just builds on its own. So, if you are in the mindset of doing whatever it takes, then I would encourage you to really get super clear, like I said, on where are you to where do you want to be with the next 30, 60, 90 days. If you've already done this earlier this year, then go back and look at your plan. Look at your mind map or whatever you created. And if you are looking to be heard and get seen and earn more revenue and recognition on a platform like LinkedIn, then send me a DM. We can have a separate, just a short discussion, and we'll see where that goes. Now, even if you're not a fit, I always make it a point to come up with a best next step for you because I care about you and I care that you're working toward the goals that you want to achieve. So, I'm going to wish everyone a lovely rest of your day. And please do keep in touch. And please also let me know, what are you struggling with? Is it leads? Is it conversions? Is it fulfillment? Those are three really important pillars. And, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's networking. But let me know, what, if you could just choose one topic, what would it be? And then I will certainly look at doing a live stream on that so that we can drill down and get you some more action steps that you need to do to fill that gap. Because we all have gaps. We, call them knowledge gaps, process gaps, whatever they are. But it's super important that we don't fly by the seat of our pants and that we're able to, be able to think and reflect and be like, okay, this is where I am. I see that I need some training in this particular area. So I'm, going to go get some video training, or I'm going to look at hiring a video editor. Those things are all part of the process. And if you are a growing company, maybe you're looking to expand internationally, whatever the case is, it's super, super important that you are very mindful of, where you are to where you want to be. So it's not a straight line. And like I said, adopting the whatever it takes mindset is definitely a key to success and a key to peace of mind. Because if you have that commitment, that you will finish what you start and that you are willing and able to do whatever it takes. Understanding that, just like when we have children, right? They don't come with an instruction book. So when we have businesses and when we're building them, or if we have mergers and acquisitions, whatever the case is, there are going to be challenges that come up. However, you can have the peace of mind to know that if you're committed to do whatever it takes, you will find a way. All right, everyone, have a wonderful rest of your day. Do keep in touch and let me know what your